Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. So this is going to be mostly a military update that we're going to do here. There's another video being lined up as well. Actually, there'll probably be 3 today that we get out if we get to it and before we start with our other work. So I wanted to first thank our newest patrons.
Yes, we want to say a huge thank you to Thomas, Danielle, and Jason. You guys help keep us going. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. We couldn't do without the support at Patreon, and something that I finally got my butt in gear and did some updates on Patreon. This is the About section on Patreon. So if you are interested in making an appointment for spiritual coaching, Vedic charts, energy work, etc., you can find information about that on the About section on Patreon, on the About section on Ko-Fi as well, and then on all the videos on YouTube. I still have to update Righty and Rumble and BitChute as far as that goes, as far as information on setting up appointments with us, because we've had many people ask over the years, and finally getting a little organized right when they're going to take the grid down. Just let's not put that out there.
No.
Don't do that. No. But yeah, I take it back. But I don't take back Heart's Ohm. So we did a video on ambient music, and this is something that I've been thinking about for a long time, years ago. I had multiple people saying, you should do something for dream and for meditation, some relaxing type of venture, because your guys' voices would be good with that. And we did do some mantra videos, which are over on Heart's Ohm. There are mantras up on EEARTS as well. But being that guitar is a passion for me, and Cindy is such a gifted channel of all sorts of healing frequencies, we're combining those, and they'll all go up on Heart's Ohm under a separate heading, either under the music here, or we'll rehead it something along those lines. So we start a rolling library that will be getting expanded on over on Heart's Ohm. And so I just wanted to mention that, because we're going to upload over there the one that we put on Evolutionary. I put it on Evolutionary first because that has the most subscribers, and just wanted to expose everybody to the to what we're going to be doing in the future. So wanted to share that too. The other thing that comes up from time to time is feeding your dogs healthy, and it makes all the difference in the world, because people realize now, just as human food is so full of toxins, it's the same thing with dog food, maybe even worse. It's just horrible. So we make these healthy dog treats. Cindy does this. This is her thing all the time. We both do the dog food. They really help with satiating the pups. We give them to them as a treat. They absolutely adore them. And then this one is from when Zeke was with us. So this is like 2.5-3 years ago. But it's still the same basic recipe we do. The only thing that's changed is the dogs get a lot of hearts, a lot of cow hearts, organ meat now, which we have an outlet for that locally. And so we do a lot of heart and liver for them. So the meat mix changes, but everything else is pretty much the same. I think, besides the turmeric, which you can see, turmeric is so powerful and so healthy. It is a blood thinner. It can be a blood thinner, so you should be aware of that if you're taking it in bigger quantities, but very, very much cancer preventative. And we also add into that ginger and clove. Clove is very, very powerful. It seems like since we moved here, especially, it's surprising because the dogs never get fleas or ticks. They never get fleas or ticks, and they're out there all the time. And we have woods that backs up to a national reserve, So, I mean, there's a lot of woods back there. There's deers coming through, and they never seem to get bugs on. Bugs don't seem to want to be on our dogs. And maybe it's because they smell like an Indian restaurant.
I know, they do. It's like they get their own Indian cooking. So their dogs need to have different nutritional requirements. So this is just a basic raw starting point to make your own dog food. But you probably still want to throw in things like, what are those little fishies called? They're really, in the can. Those are really good for your dog's sardines. Throw in some sardine toppers. We do different kinds of fats. We do tallow, coconut oil, and different kinds of fats because they need their fats. So this would definitely get someone started, but I encourage you to please continue to do your research. And you might have to change it up for your pet, and they also might have trouble kind of switching over to this kind of a diet. It's totally different for their stomach, so this is not something you want to do quickly. You can even start this as a topper. Now, this is one of our smaller pans. The pan we use now is like twice as big because we have the babies, and we cook a lot of food for these guys that lasts about 4 days. But depending on how big your animal is, you have to adjust. So we don't measure ingredients, I'm sorry to say. So you kind of have to eyeball and do your best. And we did have someone reach out wanting for the dog recipe, and I was hoping that person could email us. But this is it here, but I still want them to email us. We have some other information for you because their dog was having some trouble. So hopefully this will be really helpful.
Yes, and again, you have healing ability. You have healing powers. It's built into us. So again, if you needed to set up an appointment for us, just reach out to Evolutionary Energy Arts at gmail.com. But you can also utilize your own intention to visualize, like in the case of this one dog that was shared to us by family members. They listened and they heard some of our videos on Qigong, and they used the technique because we do have that playlist over on EEARTS and also on Evolutionary. And they envisioned their dog surrounded by a green, vibrant light. And they were visualizing that they were sending life force energy to the dog. And just that helped to turn them around, along with changes in diet that they were doing as well. Again, you utilize nature as much as possible because, again, we've been kind of led astray with thinking that we have no ability to heal ourselves. The reality is, oh, yes, we do.
We certainly do. And one thing that I've run into is, I just want to take us back a little bit to the dog food companies who made kibble. And they told us, at least this is what I remember, is never, ever, ever feed your dog human food. It's really, really bad for them. We are the saviors, and we are going to make the kibble, and your dog is going to be healthy. Well, let's fast forward to today. People are understanding that, okay, they can do better than kibble. So there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of homemade recipes that are super, super complicated. I mean, it's like some sort of rocket science, and I don't think it's really that hard, but I don't want you guys to be afraid to just tackle it. But I see a lot of companies who are selling the raw foods and the homemade foods, claiming that, oh, you have to feed your dog this. We are the only ones who can make this formula, and you are powerless. You are not powerless. Start with this, add in some really good fats, and just see how your pet behaves. Because I get attacked sometimes. I put our recipe on social media, and those who are selling these raw food or these homemade dog foods, they get really upset. They're like, you're not doing the right thing. You're killing your dog. But didn't the kibble dog food people say that too? So we are not powerless. We can do this. It does take some research, but this will definitely get you going in the right direction. Like I said, don't switch them over immediately. Mix it in with your regular kibble. And then after all, you guys, just do the best you can. If there's a certain thing that's working for your dog, keep that up. And and just, continue to learn more. And as you do, add that in, and we got this.
Absolutely. and in these times that are coming up, it will get to be a little bit of a challenge to cover all the bases, as you see. Let's listen to Sunak here.
We have so much to be proud of in Britain, but one of the problems in our society is that we have generations of young people who don't have the opportunities they deserve. Britain today faces a future that is more dangerous and more divided. There's no doubt our democratic values are under threat. That is why we will introduce a bold new model of national service for 18-year-olds, to be spent either in a competitive, full-time military commission over 12 months, or with 1 weekend per month volunteering in roles within the community, like delivering prescriptions and food to infirm people, or in search and rescue. Young people will gain valuable skills, make our country more secure, and build a stronger national posture. This ambition benefits our country and our young people alike. Just look at Sweden, where 80% of young people completing the national service say they recommend it to their friends. Uncertain times call for a clear plan and bold action to chart a course to a secure future. Our plan will ensure new generations and our country meet the challenges of the uncertain world. Keir Starmer and Labour don't have a clear plan and won't take the bold action to navigate to a more...
So here you go. They got you so ready. This is what we've been saying for a very long time, and it's time for humanity to say no. It's here they go. They're going to be drafting the 18-year-olds again. They're going to be bringing them in for compulsory service to revive the national spirit. To have endless wars. No, we're done with endless wars. Stick your compulsory up your bunghole.
This was really, really curious. I pay a lot of attention to my body when I channel. And when this guy was talking about these things, I got the biggest wave of nausea. I mean, it was huge. So whatever is behind this is very, very sinister, would make anybody yak. And it's just, you can see at face value it's bad, but there's something more behind it with the nausea I'm getting. It's just a little different. I don't know if he has some Draco over him. Something's going on there that's just really, really, really wrong.
Yeah, I for one am so tired of these nonstop wars. We went to the garden shop yesterday, picked up some supplies. This young man who's probably 20, something like that, helped us. He helped us last time too. Just such a good kid. Such a good kid. And, it's like automatically my mind goes, they're going to be grabbing him for compulsory service in no time. And you could feel, what a polite, nice, hardworking young man. It's just a waste, and it's horrible. This is so demonic, and this is why we speak up on some things that are very, very unpopular. Again, if we pushed patriotism and the Bible, hey, you'd have millions of people watching all the time, because you'd be basically pushing the system's narrative. As long as you push the narrative in one way, shape, or form, they will utilize you. If you, again, are taking away from their food supply, then they're going to make it as hard as possible on anybody that really is trying to stop the system completely. It's time to stop the system completely. They're going to, and they have all their plans laid up to start this. Just massive loss of life that's planned for the next 6 months or so. Because again, remember those DEA, GEL numbers, they're nowhere near them. So what could possibly bring those numbers into fruition? There's going to be a natural progression with loss of life due to certain health issues that so much of the planet has. Yes, understood. And stresses can trigger that. Again, you're going to have soldiers dropping like flies when they're terrified for their lives because bombs and bullets are flying all over the place. Do you know how many people are going to be having heart attacks and strokes? Yeah, it's just incredible. This is part of the stacking of the odds that they've done, because again, not all ouchies are the same. Different ones for different parts of the world. Again, when you look to Russia and China, They didn't have the same technology being used on NATO. This is all part of the same thing. And here you have yet another actor.
Never forget America is the strongest when we lead not only by our example of our power, but by the power of our example. You can clap for that.
Yeah, I see he's reading the teleprompter again. You could clap for that. Yeah. Harumph. Give that man a harumph.
Yes, he's proud of himself.
So in his speech at West Point, Biden, who is directly trying to jail his political opponent, well, again, this is all just, it's theater, Tom. It's theater. Judicial watch. Now, again, it's so hard to know exactly who is controlled opposition, or who is still just under the illusion, that any puppet's going to really make a difference. I think what they have with the puppets is narratives, and it could be that narrative one or option one, as far as the plans, could be say a Newsom election, where they show Newsom winning, because there's reports out also that Biden won't be the one that's going, that it's going to be Newsom. Many people have suspected that as well. It doesn't really matter. It's again, the illusion is that these people, Sunaks of the world, the Winston Churchills, the Roosevelts, the Stalins, they still didn't make any real decisions other than what they were told to do. This is all part of that theater. But however, each actor has a different personality, a different strong point, and could represent a different plan. That part of it could be. And so, here he's talking about 45 and the possible arresting of 45. Anything could happen, because they would ideally, as I've been saying since 2018, I think, or 2017, they want to create a civil war condition at the time of the invasion. The invasion is very, very close. So, this is the Washington Post talking about the possibility again of creating that divisive environment in the U.S. But I think what may happen is a layering of these things. I think the confusion that we're going to have is going to be just overwhelming for a while. So right now it's like you try to have and utilize this opportunity to speak clearly as possible, and to prepare while we can, because the thought that all of a sudden power goes out, no communications, the satellites aren't working, we can't find out anything, that's going to be really, really tough. And I think that is pretty near as well. And meanwhile, we see 45 is ready to get in there and go dancing with the stars.
Yes, it looks like somebody wound up that little thing on his back there so he can do some robo moves. I'm sure he worked hard on that in the mirror and got himself going. The truth is it doesn't matter who you have in power. If the controllers wanted to, they could turn Biden into a hero. I mean, they could absolutely turn him into a blazing hero, and he would do all the right things if they wanted to and if they told him to. So this just tells you the level of insanity we have and the level of control that we're dealing with when it comes to these puppets on strings.
Yeah, but he does such a good job at playing the bumbling idiot. I don't think they could have casted a better person, really. Meanwhile, Elon's got a new dancing competitor, and then David Icke says, yeah, so funny, dancing competitors. Wow, what fun. But they both have the same master. Don't forget that. Yes, absolutely they do. And I think part of what happens is people want to believe. We want to believe that there's somebody out there that is pulling for us. Well, there are on the higher densities. There's a lot, and not just on the higher densities. There's a lot of ETs that are watching the show that are pulling for us too. and some for even, just what would be kind of like this world like reasons, just so they can interact. Maybe, they would love to interact and learn from humans directly, not necessarily high spiritual things from the masses, but what makes us tick. And there's a lot of beings out there that really want us to be free and really want us to have the opportunity to grow in any direction that we want to grow. This is the point of the universe. Again, it's exploration. It's not servitude and slavery. Meanwhile, the 320 million Gaza pier has detached, drifted onto Israeli beach. It's not by accident that they're having all sorts of accidents. This is, again, part of a plan. This is all, again, to try to show, well, boy, the U.S. had so many problems. They spend, again, $100 for a single nail or a screw. Meanwhile, China can make, a military level gun for less money than what we're paying for a screw. We're getting screwed. We are getting screwed in more ways than one is the bottom line. And this is telegraphing. Look at all the problems here. U.S. Navy ships ran aground. Meanwhile, Russian and Chinese tech is doing amazing, et cetera, et cetera. It's all telegraphed to make it so it's very easy for people to say, wow, I can't believe U.S. and NATO, lost and went down without a fight, or, whatever it is that they decide to have be the outcome. And that, a lot of that really does depend on individuals, and it depends on our consciousness as well, because the more we push back, the more we don't comply. Non-compliance is the key. Push back. When Sunak's saying, no, we're going to have compulsory service. No, we're not. I mean, stop everything. Stop the functioning of society. Withdraw from society as much as you can. Because what they're planning on doing really is eliminating such a high level of the population in one fell stroke. And then, just drawing things out over a time period. If they keep us just literally thinking about surviving, and that's the first and foremost thing on our minds, then we're just going to be thinking about surviving and getting past another day, and then the system stays in place.
Mm-hmm. It does. And you just don't want to be on that path. You want to find your own path. You want to do your own thing. You want to separate away from this, because the path they're on is just certain destruction. And that's why we're saying separate yourself.
Russia and China strongly believe that President Raisi's helicopter was perhaps GPS jammed from American satellites. This is, one tweet out there. It could very well be. I mean, you had bad conditions. It feels like it was intentional. It certainly does feel like it was intentional. Meanwhile, you have this going on the other side. Russian jamming leaves some high-tech U.S. weapons ineffective in Ukraine. They've gone on and on with Russia and China's ability to jam and to utilize cyber attacks at this multi-level warfare that's going on to hinder NATO and the U.S. Again, it's very, very much being telegraphed. Everything has been so telegraphed, and many of, I'm sure all of our regulars get that and can see that. Russia drives Musk's Starlink satellites crazy? As Ukraine is losing electronic warfare, so say reports. Well, again, Elon is definitely very high up in the food chain as far as the human component of the power structure goes. And they're making it out like he is part of NATO. But in reality, he is to take a more dominant position after the war is all done. That's when, they shift gears and they start to offer you things like technology to clean up the environment. This is something that we got from the guides a long time ago. They want to wipe out so much. They want to toxify so much. So then they're going to say, look what we got. We have this technology that's going to clean the water. It's going to be cleaner than it's been in hundreds of years. And all this stuff that's going to bait you into the cities after a period of war with shortages and, in some cases, just out and out famine. Come, we have a warm, cozy bed in the Cell City. We'll have a full fridge for you, etc., etc. A position, a job, etc., etc. You only have to work 18, 20 hours a week. You could work from home. Everything's provided. Basically, all you got to do is take this. Ouch.
They have plans for you, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all part of the bigger picture that is coming to a totally different spot in the time frame. So you see China again staging the drills around Taiwan, but Taiwan is not the main target. Taiwan is absolutely not the main target. In fact, I would not be surprised at all if this is really in an attempt to give reasoning why the U.S. should bring more military power over into this area. Again, pulling it away from the mainland, as we have so much out there in the Middle East right now. There is so much of our National Guard that is nowhere near home. And you have these military exercises being done all over. Valiant Shield, Japan's going to be joining the U.S. in Valiant Shield. This is going to be going on near Taiwan. It's all pull them away. When the big attack comes, it'll be on the mainland USA. That's really what I've always felt. This is the George Washington down here, and it's transversing. It's going to go through the Strait of Magellan and head over towards the Pacific Theater. The Dwight D. Eisenhower right now is in the Red Sea. To me, I feel claustrophobically catastrophic. With anything like an aircraft carrier in this closed-in area, it just feels like it's shooting ducks in a barrel. You could see everything that's over here off the Gaza coast. There's a whole bunch of ships over there. This, again, is National Guard, this Pat Forçois. It's National Guard that's been away in the Middle East since 9/11. Again, the Teddy Roosevelt is actually in a key area right here for Chinese resupply, as there are straits over there that so much of what goes to China passes right through here on its way over to the Chinese ports. So that is there for a purpose. It might be transversing right now, but I feel like we're so close to everything really kicking off. And then I got this vision last night, which I shared with Cindy. And I said to her, the USS Truman. I don't know why the guides gave me a picture of the USS Truman and water and just open sea and the sun going down in the west. I did a little research. This article is from May 16th. So this was 10 days ago. And the Truman, the Harry S. Truman, is a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier pictured off the coast of Miami. On Sunday, May 5th, the ship was visiting Miami's Fleet Week during its ongoing train up to prepare to deploy it to the Red Sea. So this is going to go where that other one was, in the Red Sea. And it's going to relieve the other one. So I'm not sure why they were showing me this, but this was clear as day. And so it's getting ready, and they say it should be over there in a couple of months. If something breaks out, that would probably get sped up, or if it feels like something's going to break out, it's probably going to get sped up. So maybe they were showing me this as in something's going on while this is making its way, because it would have the setting sun to its back as it's making its way towards that area. Or maybe it has to do with the one that's in the Red Sea now, because that is at a very, very high potential for strike and being a target, the Dwight D. Eisenhower. The other thing they mentioned in this article is the fact that the soldiers, the Navy seamen, I should say, have been told that they are going into an area where live fire, real enemy fire, as the Houthis have been continuing to strike different cargo ships and shooting missiles at our ships, including the Eisenhower, which is over there right now. So there's an extra level of preparation that's being done with this. But last night it was just clear as day, seeing this on the sea, seeing the sun behind the ship as the ship was making its way to the Red Sea. And the words USS Harry S. Truman ringing out. So I don't know. I just want to share that with you guys. Maybe somebody else could pick up something on that. I don't know. Do you pick up anything?
I'm not. This is a real tough area for me.
Well, this is an adorable area. Look at this. Now again, if cats and dogs can get along in a loving fashion, if dogs can adopt cats, certainly we can all get along.
Yes, we can. We can.
Again, whatever way we can, we need to get out of the system as much as possible, whatever that looks like for you, because the system equals slavery. It really does. None of this has to be. This is all completely scripted, and it's been telegraphed for the longest amount of time, and more people understand this. Remember the 60s and the 70s when people were protesting the Vietnam War. I can tell you, that war, it damages souls. And this is what they're trying to do, damage souls. It can damage souls for long periods of time after the physical body is gone.
We really should be as free to grow as a tree out in a forest. We should be as free to bloom as any flower or any rose or any wildflower. This is what we should do. We should be as free to move toward that which sustains our life and helps us grow. We should be able to reach for the stars and not be manipulated. That's just wrong. It's wrong. And this whole control system, they make it out to be like they're heroes. They're helping us. They're making our lives better. And at this point, there's enough information out there that shows, anyone who goes to school, any child who goes to school, their IQ drops grade after grade after grade after grade, because all the system is doing is teaching them what they cannot do.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you guys for being part of this family. May you all be blessed with peace, love, and good health. And may you all be kept safe in these times. Source bless. Namaste.
Namaste.